there is a man named Clay. He is a well-known novelist. One morning, Clay prepares to attend the launch of his newest book titled The Words. When he arrives at the event hall, he is warmly welcomed by his fans. As part of the promotion, he plans to read a portion of the book, specifically Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. Once everything is ready, Clay begins telling the story. It starts with a young man named Rory who has just moved into a new apartment with his girlfriend, Dora. Rory dreams of becoming a famous novelist. He chooses to live independently away from his parents, hoping that the distance will help him focus on his writing. But a month passes and his manuscript is still unfinished.
When the rest of the city slept.
And then we're gonna celebrate.
Needing money, Rory visits his father, Mr. Jansen, who works at a supermarket. Rory asks to borrow some money, promising to pay him back once his novel is published. His father advises him to stop relying on something uncertain. He suggests that Rory work with him instead, especially since Rory and Dora will be getting married soon. But Rory refuses. He does not want to depend on his parents any longer. His father understands and lets him go.
You gotta get a job, something steady, support yourself. That's just part of being a man. Come here.
I love you.
I love you.
A few weeks later, Rory and Dora get married. To support his wife, Rory takes a job as a janitor at a publishing office. A month later, after receiving his first paycheck, the two of them go on their honeymoon in France. While exploring the streets there, they enter a small antique shop. Rory becomes interested in an old leather bag that still looks sturdy and full of character. He decides to buy it. After they return to America, life goes back to normal. Rory finally finishes his manuscript and begins submitting it to publishers. However, every one of them rejects it. They say the writing feels stiff and will not sell. Hearing this, Rory is crushed.
At this particular time is such that I don't know how to publish a book like this. Look, Rory, no one is going to support a book like this. Have patience.
The next morning, as he opens the antique bag he bought in France, he discovers an old manuscript tucked inside. It is typed on a typewriter. Curious, he sits down and begins to read. Rory is stunned. The manuscript is a beautiful novel, full of emotion and vivid imagery. Just by reading it once, he can picture every moment described in the story. That night, he wakes up from a dream about the manuscript. Unable to sleep, he sits at his desk and reads it again and again. And during that quiet moment, a thought crosses his mind. A wrong thought. A thought he knows he should never act on. But he does. And from that moment forward, nothing would ever be the same. This is The Words. Rory copies the entire manuscript into his laptop, word for word, claiming it as his own.
He just wanted to feel the words pass through his fingers, through his mind. He retyped every word as it was written on those pages. He didn't change a period, a comma, or even correct the spelling mistakes.
He finally finishes typing. Later that afternoon, when he comes home from work, he finds Dora in tears. She says she accidentally read his new writing on the laptop. She is deeply moved. This writing feels completely different from anything he has written before. She insists that he must submit it to a publisher. She is absolutely sure it will be accepted. Rory is silent. Inside, he is conflicted. The next afternoon, Rory brings the manuscript to the head of the publishing company where he works. He hands it over and politely asks him to take a look when he has time. 1 week later, Rory is called into the office. The publisher explains that he read the manuscript out of curiosity the night before. He expected it to be dull, just like Rory's previous work, but he was completely wrong. This one was different. Beautiful, emotional, and full of life. The company decides to publish it. Rory is overjoyed. The next day, he signs the contract, and soon the book goes to print. It does not take long before the novel becomes a bestseller everywhere. Rory's dream finally comes true. His life changes completely. Everything feels perfect. But without Rory realizing it, a storm is already approaching. Clay finishes reading the first chapter to the audience. People are amazed. Before moving on to the second chapter, everyone takes a short break. In the lounge, Clay meets a woman named Daniela. She tells him she has read all of his work and has been a fan for a long time. Clay brings her to another room and they talk for a while. During the conversation, Daniela says she has always wanted to see where Clay writes. Clay is a bit nervous. Ever since his divorce, he has not been close to anyone in that way. Even so, he invites her to visit his apartment after the event. Soon, the event resumes and Clay continues reading chapter 2. Weeks pass in the story. One evening, after Rory finishes work and heads home, he notices an older man quietly following him. The man does not say anything at first. It is only when they both sit down in a park that he finally speaks. The old man says he is a reader who admires Rory's novel. Whenever he reads it, he can feel everything the story describes. He can imagine tasting wine at a cafe, sitting in silence with sorrow, and even hearing the sound of a crying baby within its pages. The old man says he has a story of his own, a story just as powerful as Rory's. Rory does not show much interest and prepares to leave, but the old man continues. He says the story is about an old man who once lost his manuscript in France and a young man who later found it. The moment Rory hears this, he freezes. The old man begins telling his story. Back in 1944, during World War II, there was a young American soldier stationed in France. At that time, he did not think much about dreams or love. He lived simply, surviving the days one at a time. After months of duty, he tried something new. He began reading books, and from those books, a desire slowly formed. He wanted to become a novelist. One morning, while having breakfast at a cafe with a friend, the young soldier saw a beautiful waitress named Celia. And in that moment, for the first time in his life, he fell in love. For weeks, the young soldier tried to get close to Celia until eventually the two of them started a relationship. They spent every day together sharing simple moments that felt full of meaning. But their happiness did not last long. A few months later, the war ended, and the soldier was ordered to return to America. Life back home felt empty. He tried to write a novel, but he could not find his voice. Every sentence he wrote felt stiff and lifeless. After 2 difficult months, he made a decision. He returned to France to find Celia again. Their love rekindled, and soon they were married. To support his wife, the former soldier became a journalist. A year later, their daughter was born. Life felt complete. Whenever he watched Celia and their little girl together, he felt like the luckiest man in the world. But that happiness vanished. Their daughter fell seriously ill and passed away. The loss shattered them. Celia withdrew into silence. She spoke to no one. Their perfect world fell apart in an instant. One night, the soldier came home to find a letter. Celia had gone to stay with her parents, hoping to calm her heart. The soldier was devastated. After losing his child, he was now losing the woman he loved too. In the midst of his grief, he began to pour everything he felt into writing. In just 2 weeks, he completed a manuscript. The next day, he traveled to see Celia and gave her the manuscript, asking her to come home. She said she needed more time and asked him to return first. He agreed, holding on to hope. Several weeks later, Celia finally returned. But at the train station, she accidentally left her bag behind, the bag that contained the manuscript. At home, the soldier greeted her with joy, but when he asked for the manuscript, Celia realized what she had forgotten. The soldier lost control. He shouted that the manuscript was more important than she was. Shocked and hurt, Celia slapped him.
You are not the only one who lost her.
The soldier ran back to the station, searching desperately, but it was gone. The manuscript was lost forever. From that day on, he could no longer write. Not a single line, not a single word. Months passed. The soldier returned to America alone, leaving Celia behind. Decades went by. The young soldier grew old. One day, while browsing in a bookstore, he found a novel that caught his eye. As he read, he realized the story was his own, the story he had written from his heartbreak and loss. He decided to find the author. That search led him to Rory, and to this very moment in the park. When Rory asked what the old man wanted, the answer was simple. The man said he wanted nothing at all. Then he walked away.
I just thought you should know the story behind these stories, in case anyone was to ask. Maybe now you've got your next book.
Chapter 2 ends. Clay tells the audience that the rest of the story can be read in the book. The event concludes, and as promised, Clay brings Daniela to his apartment. She explains that she hopes to become a writer like him one day. She says Clay's stories always leave people wanting more, and right now she still wants to know what happened between Rory and the old man. Clay gives in and continues the story. After the old man left, Rory sat alone in the park, overwhelmed by guilt. He returned home and confessed everything to Dora. He explained where the manuscript came from and why he had lied.
Dora.
Are you drunk? Rory, what's going on? What are you doing right now? What's wrong?
I didn't write the book.
I don't know what's going on.
But you should have known. I mean, you did know, right? You knew
What do you
that
mean
I
I
didn't
should've?
write it. You knew that. I mean, you knew when you read them that they weren't my words.
But I knew. Are you kidding
know
me?
me so well.
You were doing research on Paris. We had just gotten back from our honeymoon.
Yeah, but you had to have known. You wanted to.
I fucking believed you!
Dora was shocked, heartbroken. She said she needed time. The next morning, while they were out walking together, Dora saw how deeply the guilt was crushing Rory. She wrapped her arms around him, trying her best to comfort him. Later that day, Rory is still overwhelmed by guilt. He decides to tell the truth to the head of the publishing company. He explains everything and begs for the book to be pulled from every store. But the publisher refuses. If the book is withdrawn, the company will lose a lot of money. Instead, he suggests paying the old man to keep quiet. After searching for his workplace, Rory meets the old man again. He asks what the old man wants in exchange for silence. Just like before, the old man says he wants nothing. Rory apologizes and says he cannot live with this guilt. He promises to give the old man a large sum of money, hoping it will make things right. The old man becomes angry. He does not want money. He wants Rory to understand that what he took was not just words on paper. It was a life, a memory, a past full of love and heartbreak, something that can never be returned. The old man continues his story. Years after they separated one day on a bus, he saw Celia outside with her new family, a completely different life that no longer included him. When he finishes speaking, the old man tells Rory that if he truly feels remorse, then he should never come to him again. Not ever. Rory leaves.
Walk away. Don't look back. Go on.
Sir, I do love your book.
The next day, he sits in the park alone, lost in thought. He knows the truth could destroy his career, but keeping the lie means living with guilt forever. In the end, he chooses to hide the truth. 2 weeks later, news arrives. The old man has passed away. On the day of the burial, Rory secretly comes to the funeral. He places the original manuscript into the old man's grave. The secret is now buried with him. When Clay finishes telling this part of the story, Daniela is upset. She says that what Rory did is unforgivable. How could a man steal another person's legacy and still live a successful life? She believes a person like that would never find peace. Clay simply smiles and says she is right. After Daniela leaves, Clay sits quietly. His expression changes. His thoughts drift back to his own past. Because the truth is revealed now, Rory, the character in the novel, is Clay himself. The entire story he read today is the story of his own life. His own guilt, his own burden, his own secret. So the moral of the story is sometimes the world will applaud you for something you stole, but your own heart will never stop reminding you of the truth, and that is the kind of pain that never goes away.